What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Zombieland 2 Double Tap out in theaters now. I was a big fan of the first Zombieland movie. Despite zombies basically getting like used for everything, like zombies were gigantic. I think it's finally started to taper out. You know, Walking Dead is kind of just horrible, I think, now. I don't know. I tried to watch whatever season's new on Netflix, and it's just like, okay, they're way too safe. And then Fear the Walking Dead. It just seems like the zombie trend has died down a bit. But during that time, Zombieland came out, and it was a fun mixture of like comedy with like really stylized action, like a lot of slow motion CG kind of camera floating around, almost like very similar to Deadpool in a lot of ways, but with zombies. And a really fun movie, a really fun premise, fun actors to play the different characters. They're all named after the states they're from. Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, and Abigail Breslin. This one was okay. The newest one, Double Tap, was okay. It was fun. It's a perfectly okay follow-up. It's not as good as the first one, but it's not a horrible movie. They take the premise and they go a little bit farther. They introduce some new characters. If you watch the trailer, then you already know that some of the characters are like doppelganger, like you know, like mirror images of Woody Harrelson's character Tallahassee and Columbus and Wichita. Like they were all kind of mirror images of each other, it was a fun sequence. Like all the kind of new characters don't last that long. Spoilers. Some die, some don't, some come back. Was surprised at one of the characters that comes back. Jesse Eisenberg's character Columbus meets a girl in a mall while Tallahassee and him are kind of going through the mall after the other two girls left, ran away. And she was fun. She's kind of like, what's her name in this? Her name is Madison. And she is very kind of a ditzy Valley girl, Instagram model kind of a chick. Very, airhead type of a person. But there's, it's hinted that maybe there's some hidden intelligence in there. But it was weird. In this, I haven't rewatched the original Zombieland in a while. But in this one, I mean, it takes place like 10 years later or whatever, which I think the original came out like 10 years ago. So everybody's older. Little Rock is a older woman now, and she wants to find a boy because she's, trapped with just these people that she doesn't relate to, a bunch of people that aren't in a relationship. This hippie from Berkeley shows up, but it's like the biggest stereotype. I didn't like stuff. I didn't like this movie. I didn't give a shit about Little Rock or her relationship with Berkeley or Berkeley. He's like the most stereotypical, like kind of weed kind of, like not even a weed person, like a fake, like somebody who culturally appropriates chill. I don't know what that, like just like the worst kind of a poser who wears patchouli because for like the scent versus, I don't know. It's just, I didn't buy it at all. I didn't give a shit about it. Thankfully, not a big part of the movie. The kind of the relationships, even the relationship between Columbus and Wichita, didn't give a shit about. I think that's how the first one ends, where they kind of like get together. But this one, I don't believe. Like, there's electricity, which they explain. The electricity is like, well, as long as it keeps raining, the dams will keep producing electricity. Which, okay, there's electricity. That explains the electricity. Doesn't really explain the fact that gas seems to be super prevalent still. Doesn't, after 10 years of the zombie apocalypse, by the way. Gas is fine. You can still find brand new looking minivans like that aren't really beat up. You can also go into places like the White House, and it's pretty pristine still. Like nothing has really been touched, which I thought was ridiculous. I'm like, if the zombie apocalypse happens, and it's 10 years later into the zombie apocalypse, 1,000% the White House is going to be a pile of rubble. Because there's not going to be any security. There's not going to be any of that bullshit. And just as, especially if it's during the current presidency, like I would imagine the zombie apocalypse would be at fault to maybe some presidential mishandling of a real situation. But just in any case, the White House would have been ransacked multiple times in the decade following the zombie apocalypse. So that I just didn't. In the mall, the same thing with the mall. It's like, what? They're on Segways that are still charged somehow. Like the batteries are still cool. And there were things in this that were like, what is going on? And it's just in effort to kind of keep the story going, which it's fine. Like, you know, you look past stuff. There's not as many. There are some fun action moments, but it's just like the things that they had to do to get to those action moments and then the comedy gags, they were just like, they were all just okay. They were all just okay. There's no way Madison would be alive. This movie also, I mean, even the subtext, the subtitle of this movie is double tap, which refers to one of the rules, which the first one opens up with rules in a very interesting way, like showing Jesse Eisenberg's rules to survive the zombie apocalypse. And this one leans very heavily on the rules, even during their doppelganger sequence. His doppelganger has commandments. And they go off on a rule battle to see kind of whose rules make more sense, which is fun. It's all fun. The end of this movie is kind of, they find this place called, they're trying to find Graceland because Woody Harrelson's character is obsessed with it. They think that's where Little Rock is going because she ran away with Berkeley, and they're trying to find her. And because Berkeley's a pacifist, doesn't believe in guns, only has a guitar, which says he would be dead too. But they're going to Graceland, but on their journey to Graceland is when they find their doppelgangers. And then somehow they stumble across Babylon, which is a place that Berkeley knew about, which is kind of like a sanctuary type of a place where a commune where hippie, quote unquote, hippies live, and they have no guns. They burn down your guns to make cool little peace symbols out of the metal. But, you know, in a place like that leaves them open for a zombie apocalypse, which in this one also there are new evolved zombies referred to as the T-800s, or I forget the other name that they had for them. So it made them harder to kill, which was fun, you know, add a little bit more wrinkle to it. But the movie's just okay. The movie's just okay. It ends fine. Perfectly fine. I have no desire to see another Zombieland movie. I'm good. There is a post-credit sequence in this film that kind of shows the initial outbreak of the zombie apocalypse, which brings back, what's his face? From the first one, Bill Murray, who he becomes a term in this one, which was kind of fun too. It's a fun movie, not as good as the first one. The post-credit sequence, was whatever. You know, it was just a good movie. It wasn't bad. After the last few movies that I've seen, like Gemini Man and and even Jexy. This one was pretty solidly just okay and had some fun moments, fun comedy, some fun action moments. So I didn't regret necessarily going to see it, but I would have gone to see it anyway. But it was fun. It just didn't seem to be. It didn't hit as hard as the first one did, which was a little bit disappointing. But other than that, it was still a fun time at the movie theater. But that's it for Zombieland 2. Double tap. Watch it. If you like the first one, you're gonna like this one, but you're not gonna like it as much as the first one. I mean, it's a good follow up, but it's substandard comparatively. But that's it for this episode. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go purchase my original artwork over at inspireddisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS. Follow me on social media at Ray Taylor. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!